Here's a really cool example of how we use data and visuals to describe a problem in a golf swing. And the first thing we're looking at is a golfer that has a very open club face. And we call this a top-down lesson. And the top-down is going to influence the ground up. And right here, this very key metric here, the face to the path. When that number is positive, the club face is open. And that influences the ball to curve way off to the right. It encourages it to slice. And it leads to a loss of distance and a lot of loss of control. So one of the things that we start with is the grip. And we want to first notice how both hands are on the golf club. This is a position that I call a prayer grip. Both palms are facing each other, much like you would if you held your hands in prayer. Your hands are facing each other on the side of the club with the club face square. And this is really difficult to rotate the club face closed. Another thing that the prayer grip does is it really has a tendency to raise the path of the backswing, and you can see it dramatically makes the path of the downswing come down very, very steep. This is that path over the neck. Now I've got some super cool data visuals with Swing Catalyst as well, and you can see we have a percentage of pressure on the right foot and a percentage of pressure on the left foot. The arrows that you see coming out of the ground are called force vectors. That's when we're putting a pressure into the ground, it's creating a force out of the ground. We also have pressure and stance over here. You can see the pressure is illustrated by a percentage of what's touching the ground here. This is the left foot, this is the right foot. And that ball that you see moving, this ball that you see here, that is called the center of pressure. And you notice that creates something that we call the trace. And that's how the pressure moves in this player's golf swing. Well, this is the prayer grip. This is the steep path. This is the open club face. And a big tendency that we see in players that do this is it's really difficult for them to release or bend the lead arm correctly. And we're really holding the club face open, and more pressure tends to go to the back foot as a result. And this has the effect again of radically opening the club face, spinning the ball to the right. So a change is the grip. And something very, very important to notice about the grip change is the lead hand grip. Now much more on top. Getting the lead hand grip to rotate over so the palm faces down a little bit more on top, and the right hand grip just a little bit more under the grip so the right hand can grip the club correctly. And these changes here with both hands are very important for something that we're going to see in the golf swing. You won't believe the difference in the path of the golf club. Got a little bit less steep here, and now it's much easier for the pressure to shift forward, get onto that lead side, and watch the difference in how the lead arm looks. The right hand is covered up the left hand, and this lead arm position looks a lot different coming through. Now we add a golf ball, obviously. This is a first session, really first time we're having a crack at this. And we're going to take a look at these incredible changes here based on how we're holding the golf club, what we're going to see with the pressure, and a quick read into how much change we're going to get in the club face. So left hand's on top, right hand's a little bit more under. And when the club goes back, a dramatically different look in the path of the backswing. And now the golf club comes down much, much less steep. And another really cool thing that we can see is as we're releasing the club and arms differently, a little more pressure can get to the lead side. Now, some tendency to want to go back here, but look at the difference in the release of the arms and hands. Look at the difference in how the player's arms can rotate and pressure can move into the lead side. I always call it tendencies. There are tendencies that players have, and you can see a much stronger tendency to get to the lead side at this key position. We love to see when the lead arm is parallel to the ground that there's more pressure on the lead foot than the trail foot. And that looks markedly different when we go back to the old swing, and we can see getting lead arm parallel to the ground here, pressure was more, but not as much as we have with a correct grip and correct position of the lead and trail hand on the golf club here. What I think is fascinating and ultimately very cool is right there, we're able to increase pressure without asking the player to do it. The path of the club massively changing in the direction of where the shaft is swinging down, and ultimately a big look in the difference of how the lead arm is rotating, and that's from the grip. That's the lead grip position, and much easier for the player then to rotate, rise, release. The shot here, much different in total distance, much different in total spin of the golf ball, and ultimately a faster, more efficient club, all from that grip change. So the top-down effect of great grip is so that the club can plane, release, and come back to the ball in the whatever fashion we want to create any ball flight, and then the pressure really starts to match as we go through it. It's a fantastic use case.